Baba Mangu, are you fine? Honorable Mangu?
Chairperson.
Are you fine, my brother?
I'm very inspired, Chair, and good morning. I'm very fine. And how are you?
No, I can see the fineness in you. I can see the fineness in you.
And the inspiration.
Yeah, no. I know who inspires you most of the time.
We don't need to repeat that. Me and you know.
Yeah. How's Gauteng treating you?
Very wet, yeah, but it is well.
It is well, ne?
It is well, very wet, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Our people are living in water these days.
Yeah, no, water is life. No matter the amount, it's okay.
I agree.
When there is no water, you are to be blamed. So at least let the blame not go to you. Yeah. No, thanks, Honorable Manu.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you.
Maybe we must open our meeting. Valerie, Asithokoze Mhlonishwa.
No, Asithokoze Chairperson, good morning, and I think I would like to congratulate the ANC caucus on the swearing in of Honorable Comrade Xiaomei. Welcome.
Yeah, no, dear. It's okay. Thank you, Mhlonishwa. Valerie, can you hear me?
Yes, Chairperson, I can hear you very well.
Oh, okay. How many members are in the
Chair,
meeting?
There are now 7 members in the meeting, so the meeting corrates. The apologies received, Chairperson, is from Ms. Noluchungu, who's off sick. Mr. Chabangu is here in the meeting. Mr. Sitole is attending the tourism meeting. Mrs. Ramadua had a death in the family and will not be attending. And then from the department, there was an apology last night from the Deputy Minister, who's attending a joint cabinet committee meeting today.
So the minister and the DG are here.
Chair, the minister is not in the meeting, and the DG, I don't see him online, but he's senior officials who are the project leaders on the ERT bill. They are all in the meeting with the legal team.
Thank you very much, Tandy.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Valerie and colleagues. The minister is in the ECID committee too, the joint ECID committee too. The DG has sent the representative led by Mr. Sikudu here, who are the project leaders for the ECID, for this economic regulator bill.
What I want to know from you, Tandy, is that do we have any apologies from the minister and the DG?
Chairperson, according to Secretariat, we only need project leaders here. We were not, minister was not invited and the deputy minister.
Wow.
Chair, may I correct that statement, or do you want me to leave it?
No,
Because
correct.
I definitely did not say that, Chair.
You definitely did what?
I did not say that, Chair. If I use those words, then no, it's definitely not so. I was just told last week that the people who are the project leaders on this will be here. I did not receive any other apologies except those from the DM.
Ms. Nompondo?
Valerie, yes, Chair.
Yeah.
I asked Valerie myself that in all these deliberations of any bill or is minister and DM and DG attending? The clarification that I got from Valerie was that when the minister is needed in the portfolio committee, she will send a letter that is signed by the chairperson of the committee. I have the conversation where I always ask. That's why, because I know that on Tuesday, minister and DM, they are in the joint committee of cabinet. And on Wednesday, they're in the cabinet. So I asked so that I can include anything if he's wanted in the meeting. I have a conversation which I can share with the chair when I ask Valerie.
Okay, we'll correct that. We will correct that definitely. As far as I know, in all our meetings, committee meetings, there should be an apology from the ministry and the DG side, and which should be then accepted and will then allow people who are relevant on that matter. Otherwise, it should be a standing understanding. Okay, thank you very much.
Chair, if I may, can I also have a copy of that conversation? And I am just surprised that the understanding is different from the PLO from the deputy minister, because there was obviously an apology given. So I just want to make that clear. And I would want to know why the understanding is different to at least forward an apology, Chair.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think I've dealt with this matter, honorable members. Welcome in today's meeting, which is the first meeting of the second month of the year 2021, the 2nd of February. I hope we'll give this meeting, as we normally do, our fullest concentration and focus to deal with this economic regulation of transport. At this point, before we start the meeting, I wish to take this opportunity for the committee to have a moment of silence for all the departed souls caused by this pandemic. That will also include our own colleagues who have departed because of this. And I think currently, if I'm not mistaken, there are colleagues who have passed on. That as we do our motion of silence, we should pray for their souls to rest in peace and their family to have strength. Can we, in a moment, observe a moment of silence? May their souls rest in peace. Thank you. Today, our business has about 3 items, which is deliberations on the ERT bill. The second one, members will be requested to, by the Department of Transport, to make a comment on the submissions on the civil aviation, and will then have minutes of the 26th and 27th of January, and we'll then close our business for today. Is there anything that I'm leaving out? I know that the request by the department for members to comment on the civil aviation is not actually on our agenda, crucial as it is. I want to implore members to accept that as the second item of the agenda. Can we agree, members, on that? Honorable Unsinger.
Good morning, Chairperson and colleagues. Chairperson, I propose that we agree on that, and then having the opportunity then to speak. Just a question around the committee program for Thursday specifically, and I'm asking this in the light of an announced caucus meeting. Which, should we have a portfolio committee meeting on Thursday morning, it would conflict with the announced portfolio caucus meeting. If you could address that as well, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Just remind me as we arrive there, any seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mangu. We'll then, thank you. We'll then move to the deliberations on the ERT Bill of Transport. We are going to be taking chapter by chapter on this matter. And I'm sure members have familiarized themselves with this bill chapters and the comments by various stakeholders. I think we are at the point where we now will afford members an opportunity to do exactly that from chapter 1. And let me see. Oh, okay. Honorable Chris Hansinger.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, at the last presentation, we were presented with an attempt to address a question around the financial implications of this bill. Following the presentation, you then announced that we would discuss this at the next opportunity, which seemed to be today.
Yeah.
I was left with the impression that we would not have an opportunity at the occasion, which was last week, to then reflect on the answers upon the questions, given the presentation of the financial implications of this ETR bill, which left me with the impression that we would have the opportunity at this occasion. Now having to look at each of the chapters leaves a bit of a vacuum, and I would suggest, Chairperson, that you do allow an opportunity then to just reflect from our side as an impression of what was supposed to be an overview of financial implications, which in my view was not adequate and not final and not finished, to allow for reactions from our side before we actually look at the content of the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable member. I remember myself saying that. Indeed, you are right. Let me see members who wish or to comment on this issue. Honorable Mangu, do you have something to say?
Yes, Chairperson, thank you very much. I will not repeat what the colleague has said, but yes, you have just said you remember yourself saying so, which I do concur. My other issue also is, I don't recall, and I'm subject to correction, that the department has presented us with, other than just saying this comment, they've not shown us how the submissions were incorporated into the version of the bill. I could have missed it, but I don't seem to recall that we have that very, very clear. and that is a generic comment even before going in. It would be nice to say we received comments and so forth. But I think the last presentation just took us more into the process and answering the 3 key questions that we had asked, which are still incomplete. So in terms of the generic responses, or rather the comments we received from the members of the public, it doesn't appear that we have had any clear indication of how they have been dealt with, those that would have been dealt with. For me, on top of what has been said, that is something that I would maybe be corrected on, or if I'm correct, that we understand how we are going to deal with it. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mangu. Who in the department, who is leading the department? Let me find out.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. I hope I can be seen and I also can be heard. I am Themba Tenza. I am the acting DDG, and I am leading the technical side of events today. Thank you.
We can't see you, Mr. Themba Tenza.
Let me try again.
Yeah, we can see you, can hear you.
Thank you.
Your comment on this, on the latter question?
We would be happy to do what the meeting requires. I have hope that we will not take long to upload if it is something that has not been circulated inadvertently for today, but we will just be guided by the conclusions of the meeting as to what needs to be done.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We can hear you, can see you. Let me then deal with this matter. We will then deal with this matter. I think for my recollection, Honorable Mangu is correct. As we get to that, to the deliberations, we'll then allow you some short space of time to do exactly that, and we'll then deliberate. For now, I wish to give an opportunity to any member, as per my promise last week, on the issues of the financial implications of this bill, to make inputs. Then we'll then go to the deliberations of the ERT bill of transport. Let me see hands. I can see we have 3 hands, and I take it that those will be the only 3 hands. We have 4 hands. We have Honorable.
No, Chairperson, I'm having a problem with the connection.
Okay, sir. Is your hand up? Honorable Makosini? We'll then try you as we move. Is your hand up?
I was just...
you are just doing what?
No, I was just explaining that I've got a problem with the connectivity.
Oh, okay, sir.
The network is not good at all.
Yeah, no, considering that you stay in Free State, we understand that.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's have Honorable Mangu, followed by Honorable Hansinger, followed by Honorable Lawrence McDonald and Honorable Mapena. In that order.
Chair, thank you. My hand was raised. It was not dropped on the previous input. I don't have any input so far.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
I just lowered it a bit late. My apologies. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll then take those 3 hands. Honorable Hansinger.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Tenza, before I start with
Maybe let's try you when your video is off and see if we can get a better result, Honorable Hansinger. If you switch your video off, let's see if we can get you back to the meeting.
Chair, if you allow me, I'll give Honorable Hunsinger a call and let him know that he has frozen and that you will give him an opportunity to come back.
That's what I was going to suggest. Let's allow that process and get Honorable McDonald in the meantime.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, all the officials from the department. Chairperson, my biggest concern with the financial implications, and we've raised this last week, is that we've been given all these beautiful figures, but when we go back to the APPs that were presented by the department on each one of these proposed entities that we currently have, they do not correlate, and there's huge discrepancies, and in their own financial implications, the CBRTA, if you remove that from the equation, then we are going to be spending an additional 90 million rand per year on another entity to do the work of what is already there. And Chair, by doing that, we are actually having over-regulation. And what happens when you have over-regulation, when you have poorly designed regulations, may cause more harm than good. It will stifle innovation, growth. There will be no job creation. It will waste limited resources, and will undermine the sustainability development and inadvertently harm the people they are supposed to protect and erode the public's confidence in our government, Chairperson. So, Chairperson, as much as we want to make sure that this bill serves its purpose to regulate the cost to the public, we can't be sitting here, Chair, with a financial implication spreadsheet that does not even make sense, that is not even correct, Chairperson. Then the department must then come back and then give us the proper figures so that we can compare apples with apples and not apples with oranges. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable McDonald. Asithokoze Mhlonishwa.
Chair, I see Honorable Chris Hansinger is back and he has raised his hand. I think, as per your suggestion earlier on, I think let's allow him.
No, we'll still allow him. Thank you for notifying me, because I've pointed you. Carry on, Honorable Member. Honorable Mapena. Okay. Mhlonishwa.
Thank you. Two things. I think on the in terms of the financial implications, I think the comments which I made last week was that the department assured us that there was going to be savings on the spending, but also the assurance that there was going to be staff was going to be absorbed into the new entities, and that the process was going to kicked off was going to be an HR process, and then also in terms of the regulations and also the motivation to save. So I think from my side, um, those are still the comments which I will have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Hansinger, are you back?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm back, and thank you for the second opportunity after my very polite introduction, which I still present. I still maintain that Mr. Sikudu did well, but that we lack specific and rather technical information. Technical information with regards to the financial implications. So we were shown a table which did not correlate with annual budgets. In other words, particular SOEs were presented as content with their particular budgets of a very specific financial year. However, those figures do not correlate with the actual annual budgets of those SOEs. So the purpose of this table was then to show a saving. In other words, to justify this particular bill, which then intends to incorporate and amalgamate particular SOEs' functions in a regulatory function or role. So yes, indeed, a saving was indicated, but the figures to justify the saving, I maintain, was not correct and do not align with actual budgets of those SOEs. So that needs to be corrected. Furthermore, the HR function of a financial overview cannot be ignored. In other words, if there is any moving around of staff, reallocation, redeployment, reduction or increase of staff, you cannot leave out the HR function around employment and employees from a financial overview. In fact, that is one of the core elements. So therefore, it was sad to then acknowledge references to the fact that this, what we expected to be a detailed financial insight, was then presented in the words of Mr. Sikudu as a high-level presentation. Nothing can be high level when we talk about people and jobs and employment. Furthermore, words were used like the collapse of regulators. We would like to know what the collapse means and what the implications of collapse means. It is not good enough to use those phrases but not give financial detail. There were mentions, and his exact words were, there would be some casualties around employment. What casualties? In what SOEs? How many? Where? He used words around estimates, modeling, projections, and then furthermore said a proper analysis has to be done. Well, we would like to see that proper analysis, and we would want to be shared the actual estimates, modeling, and projections, and the basis on which that was made. And to me, in answering after the wrong figures were pointed out to say the figures are wrong, but there is still a saving. It doesn't work with us, Chairperson. We would want to see this, and we would want to see it based on correct figures. We would not simply accept the premise of a saving based on wrong figures. It would definitely not pass the scrutiny of this committee. So, Chairperson, in summary, there are more questions than answers. We definitely need reassurance of the financial implications. And I'm sure a lot of SOEs are also watching, to see how this would technically transpire. So I do appreciate the idea and the plan of a phased-in approach, but great caution in terms of the legal implications of a phasing in process of functions and roles from one entity into another entity, as what is suggested, should be done. A great caution. And the reference of this caution is based on the fact that with each phase of incorporation, a new amendment bill will be needed to scrap the old bill, which mandated and delegated the other entity's function and role. So I would want to see a financial implication aligned to the legal implication of new and future bills and amendments that would be needed to get rid of the function and role in each of the entities with the incorporation of these phases. Lastly, Chairperson, in recent years, we've had huge and extended and very expensive court cases of the Tassima e-Natus debacle and the RTMC's endeavor to get hold of e-Natus, which finally succeed, but at a huge cost. And that is the aspect that should be fresh in our minds, which through adequate and good legislation and proper information and preparation, we should avoid, rather than to just work on estimates and the figures are wrong, but there's still a saving and let's go ahead. It certainly cannot happen in this committee. So, Chairperson, therefore, I would say that there are more questions than answers that was presented last time. It was a great effort, but through you, Chairperson, Mr. Tenza, as acting DDG, we would certainly want to see a revised presentation, definitely not on high level, but with absolute detail and specifics, also including specifically HR implications, the phased-in process, the legal elements in terms of amendments of future incorporation. So, Chairperson, with that, I would say we would have to see this presentation again in far more detail. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable members, is there any member who is vehemently against the proposal by Honorable Hansinger? If there is such a member, let me see any hand. In the absence of any hand,
there is a hand, Chair. Honorable McDonald's hand is up.
No, Honorable McDonald's hand likes staying up. Honorable, or there it goes down. So there's nobody. It means that becomes the committee's view. Babundenza. Honorable Ntenza, are you here, sir? Is the department still here? Babundenza, can we hear you now?
Honorable Chair, if I may, I don't see Mr. Tenza on the list. Maybe there's a network problem there. I'm Mweketi Sikudo from the Department of Transport.
Let me see you, Mweketi. That is good. Okay, so Ndaten Tenza is offline. I was not going to call him on the issue of what we have just discussed. I'm happy you are here, you have heard yourself. I was gonna call him on the issue. He said the department will gladly want to deal with it as we get now into the bill itself in terms of the comments by the department before we deliberate. Are you ready to do that, sir, on his behalf?
Good morning again, Chairperson and colleagues and members. I am sorry I was cut off. I'm back. I would request not to put the video again for now. Maybe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
I missed the last part because I was cut off, but I believe that the chairperson was asking if we would like to comment after the comments that have been given by the members. If that is the case, Chair, through the Chair, I would like Mr. Sikudo to summarize. I think we do need to go back to the drawing board and write these so well with the valuable inputs for which we are very, very thankful, so that we can have an open and proper forward-looking connections between the legal implications that, as it has been said, the HR implications, the budget lines of the affected SOEs, etc. So we would like to do that, but I will give, through the chairperson, an opportunity to the technical manager, if that is allowed. Thank you, chairperson.
No, thank you, Mr. Ntenza. What I was requesting, I think the committee has taken a resolution, as you say, that the matter should be handled the way you are raising it. So we're giving you an opportunity to come back with a revised presentation, as members have said. At this moment, we're giving you an opportunity to deal with what I said we will deal with, the comments by the department on what stakeholders have said as we get into the bill now. That was the reason why I wanted you to get into the space and be here.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let us do it that way, Mr. Sikudo and the team. Thank you, through the chair.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, all honorable members, and good morning, colleagues. I would try to reflect on what has happened before with regard to the comments, the written as well as verbal comments. If honorable members can recall, before the 24th of November meeting, the department had presented a comprehensive matrix that consolidated all the inputs that were received verbally or submissions which were made by the public, as well as those which were made through the public hearing sessions that the committee held between October and November 2020. So the way I had understood the question raised by Honorable Mangu is the fact that he wanted clarity as to whether the department has basically considered incorporating the received submissions into their bill. I will be correct if I misread or misheard the question. However, partly the part of the question was basically reflecting on the fact that on the received comments, what has happened, particularly in considering those comments. And in that I reflected on, the duty of the department was to give the portfolio committee a consolidated a document that reflects on the comments received as well as the position of the department on the DOT department, which I'm happy to share that if the committee so desires that I repeat that or summarize it, which is about 51 pages. As I'm speaking here, I'm trying to share that metric so that you can see, maybe it might inject your mind so that you remember the document that I had presented a week or so before the 24th November meeting that we had presented to the financial implications presentation. Chair,
Yes,
this is, I don't know whether you see my screen there. I've shared a document there.
Yes, I see your screen.
Which is called Response to Comments on the Economic Regulation of Transport Bill. This document was presented in detail in a meeting that was before the 24th November meeting. It's just that I can't remember the exact date. And I can, at a high level, but I know the weight high level is not being liked so much, but I can summarize it for the purpose of the committee so that at least you can remember what in the gist has been discussed before this committee and yeah, take you through in detail. If you so wishes as well, I can do that. So you can guide me on that one. However, reflecting on the comment made by, or a question made by Honorable Mango was that what has been commented on the bill? Has it been kept or incorporated in the bill? The answer to that is specific. It is no, because the request prior to today's meeting and prior to the 24th November meeting was that DOT, we have received verbal as well as written submissions, consolidate those into a single document and provide us with a DOT's response, which we then did and presented in a specific meeting prior to the 24th of November. Chair. So I would request kindly your guidance as to how should I proceed with this document. Thank you.
Mr. Skudo.
Yes, Chair.
I think let's quickly deal with the word you say is not liked in this meeting. Let's leave that part. Quickly refresh members in terms of this presentation, high level, so that we can deal with what we need to deal. In November last year, we can all understand that members may not be recalling exactly what was this all about. Can you quickly, at a high level, deal with this?
Chairperson, my hand is up if you may, if possible.
Honorable Manu.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I think I hear the response. The presentation was on the 11th November 2020. The problem with the presentation is that it goes into a defense mode. And the response given now by Mr. Sekudu suggests that nothing of the comments or inputs that were made by the people were worthy to be incorporated. That is the sense I'm getting. Because it's good to say the Competition Commission, DOT response, the type of, and so forth as there. But are you saying, therefore, DOT, that there was nothing that was of value to be incorporated in terms of this? And I'm saying if there was, we need to see that this is what, out of our response, we have gone back, we found to be valuable. This is how we have incorporated it in the bill that is before you as the committee. I'm not getting that sense. I'm getting a sense that is trying to rebut most of the things that were raised, or in other instances, agree with them. Now, what I was asking is, if you have incorporated them, can we have that without disagreeing with what the chair is saying? Thank you very much, Chair.
Mr. Sikudo?
Thank you, Chair. I think the direct answer to the last part of Honorable Manu's question in relation to have we incorporated some of the comments that were made by the public as well as during the public hearing sessions. The answer, the bill has not incorporated any of those comments. However, the approach that we took when we looked at all the comments was to reflect on DOT's response, and that response looked at the areas in which the department supports the comments, which I would assume those would have to be reflected in the bill. And it looked at the comments which were not supported and provided a motivation as to why we are not supporting those comments. My understanding and the understanding of the department was that we would provide the DOT response or DOT position, whether we support or not support, with the rationale. And it would be the portfolio committee's duty or portfolio committee's role to indicate as to which one we should accept and which one we should not accept and incorporate or not to incorporate in the bill. The long and the short of it, no comments has been incorporated in the bill, not on the basis of the fact that we don't have any to incorporate. It's on the basis of the fact that the framework to respond to a question related to addressing the comments comprehensively was that DOT needed to provide a position, whether supporting or not supporting the comments made, and provide a rationale for either. So that's the position that we took. However, it would not be difficult for the department to incorporate these comments that the department supports if indeed we are allowed to do so. But at this present moment, the bill that we have is the one that was introduced to Parliament, and supported comments and inputs have not as yet incorporated in the bill. But there are areas in which we feel strongly that the public, as well as the public hearing sessions, emphasized the importance of incorporating them into the bill, and we really support those. And my high level could have highlighted, presentation could have highlighted those.
Honorable Sikudo?
Yes, Chair.
Can you quickly deal with your high level so that we continue with the work, please?
Thank you, Chair. The presentation would basically demonstrate the DOT response to the questions, to the comments received verbally through the public hearing sessions, which there were a lot of presentations made there, as well as the written comments which were received through the public commentary period. The first way in which we captured the comments are per section of a respective commenter or commentator. For example, in this case, we looked at Uber that made a comment on subsection 2.4, basically that relates to the Competition Commission Act 89 of 1998. And the issue here is that there is no concurrency between the jurisdictions of the regulator, which is the Transport Economic Regulator, as well as the jurisdiction of the Competition Commission in the bill itself. And this is embedded in section 4 and subsection 4 of the bill, and subsection 45 of subsection 1 of the bill. From the DOT's point of view, we have distinguished the role of the Competition Commission, which is post-facto regulation, and the role of the regulator, which will be anti-facto regulation, which is prior to existence of certain activities like anti-competition and so forth. Where there is competition, then the Competition Commission will come into play here. And this model itself is not different to the model that you would have in the communication sector or the ICT sector, where you have both the Competition Commission having a specific role to play there, as well as the ICASA that has a specific role to play there, which is mainly to focus on ex-ante regulation. So we see no duplication of roles between the Competition Commission as well as the regulator, but we see that there's concurrence in certain functions that will be performed by both. So in the main, there was an issue around restrictions between competition and Competition Commission, as well as the regulator that we anticipating, Chair. And there was an issue around Section 4, subsection 2 of the bill, where there was an issue around the type and size of ownership structure that exists in the sector, and how the broad nature, point two, due to the broad nature by which Section 4.2 may be interpreted, may apply to enterprises such as Uber. So the interpretation of the Section 4, subsection 2, basically assumes that the e-hailing services will be incorporated, which is not correct. The bill would apply to the current regulatory entities that are regulated by the current legislation. For example, it will apply to Transnet, it will apply to PRASA and others, because those are regulated at the current moment. And the bill gives discretionary powers to the minister to extend the scope to other areas which have been determined to be of monopoly nature. So that would then be done by the minister. So that section is under Section 4 to basically extend the scope to other areas which may be of monopoly nature. And those areas could either be private sector or be public sector. The focus is not only on the public sector, which is the key section of the bill itself. So which is very important point that has been raised there. And section 22 basically indicates that, sorry, I think I'm looking at the wrong documents. Sorry, Chair, can I change this document if you allow me?
Yes, you are allowed.
My apologies for this. Actually. I won't be long, Chair.
Come again, sir?
I won't be long, Chair.
Yes, no. Do take your time so that we do the right things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you rush, you then land into another wrong document.